Greetings, all. Greetings and salutations to you all. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in, honey. I am Big Meach, and this is a Big Meach moment. Listen, I have been sitting on this for a little minute. You know, I do not like jumping on stories right away when they are in the press because I like to take time to, understand and calculate and to just sit in it for a minute so that I can hear some of the things that are going to be said, and hopefully that my commentary will not just be repetitive of what's already been out there, but will also add to the conversation. I want to come with a different perspective, hopefully, and give us something to think about as we are all dealing with the topic of suicide. Now we have a select, for those of y'all who do not know, Twitch, DJ Twitch, Stephen Boss is his name. He was the one of the executive producers over on Ellen, the Ellen DeGeneres show. He was also a contestant on So You Think You Can Dance. He and his wife, they were dance partners for a long time. They had 3 beautiful children together. And just a few days ago, he left the world. Okay. And it is said that it's apparent suicide. Okay. Now, all the latest talk and carried on, of course, everybody is like, we're all distraught and things of that nature because suicide happens to be, a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And we hear all those cliches. We hear some of the church children may want to try to condemn it. And, some of y'all believe that suicide is the worst sin because you can't repent for it. I've been taught that a long time ago. Although they say that, they treat homosexuality as if it is the worst, but I get on that later. But here we are, this beautiful black man, this beautiful heterosexual black man, left this world, being in some kind of turmoil, some kind of pain, some kind of distance. I would not allow him to either talk about it or seek help or find other solutions out of what it is. Now, it is said that there's a video that was posted of him dancing with his family 24 hours prior to his death. And I want to believe that that video was possibly his goodbye message to his family. And they said that there was a note, a suicide note left behind that was very vague and ambiguous. However, here's the question that I have for a lot of us, and that there is, are you providing a safe place for those who you say you love, for those who you say you care about? Are you providing a safe place for them to come and share with you their innermost secrets? Are you providing for them a safe place where they can lay their troubles down without ridicule or scorn or any kind of laughing or belittlement? Are you providing a safe place for those who you say you love and care for to be able to be as vulnerable as they can be, to even see them being gullible in some regards because you think that they can't be or they shouldn't be or they got their shit together and there's no way that they could be taken advantage of in this kind of situation. Have you provided a place and a space for those who are in your immediate circle, those who you say are your road dogs and carrying on? Have you provided a place for them to be that comfortable to where they can sit down and give you all of that? They can cry, they can be naked in front of you, emotionally and spiritually, not just physically for those of you who have physical relationships, but can they be emotionally naked in front of you without all of the backlash? See, one of the things I've come to learn is that suicide becomes the only answer when folks are at a low point, when they are so far beyond hurting to where that seems to be the only answer out. When they cannot connect the dots to see that there may be another solution, or when they just don't have it in them to try to brainstorm their way out, suicide becomes the only answer for those who hit that far. I've been there. Yeah, I've been there. When I thought the world was just beating me up, and it was. I was 22. And I couldn't find a job. The theater world in Detroit had just blackballed me for a minute because of the person I was working with. And then I took his lead and did something stupid. We cussed everybody out when I come into our show. How about that? Okay, cussed everybody out, sent letters and things, and then I got blacklisted, wondering how come I can't get on anybody's audition notices anymore. Couldn't find work. Nobody wanted to hire me. And then things had just gotten, I didn't feel like I could take care of myself. I was 22 years old. I was back home with my mom because I had let my place go. Somebody had broken my place and I had to let my place go. So I'm back at home and, helping my mom with my siblings and carrying on. And I was just at that point to where I said, fuck it. I cannot do this because I'm at a point, my mother should not have to take care of me. She's done her job, blah, 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 blah. But my spirit was very, 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 very vigilant with me. And I heard my spirit tell me, you can't be fabulous if you go out like this. This ain't cute. And I stopped because what I did was I had a bottle of my asthma medicine. We were taking a pill called conceive back then. I was going to take all of my pills. And I was like, fuck it. They ain't got to worry about it no more. I'm one less mouth to feed. My mother don't have to go through these particular changes and things of that nature. It'll be best if I'm gone. And I sat on my couch because I had a couch in my room. And I sat there and I'm crying, tears rolling down my face. And I had the pill bottle in my left hand. And my spirit just said, you can't go out like that because you will never be fabulous if you go out like that. And at that time, at 22, you have to understand my fabulousness, honey, was a part of my everything. I'm a bigger than life personality, and everything about what I wanted to do was going to be grand and big and robust and fabulous, and the world was going to love me and blah, 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 blah. And my spirit said, you will never be fabulous if you go out like that. And going out like this ain't fabulous, right? And when I heard that, I had a jolt, right? Because then I ended up, was able to get back on board with the brainstorming ideas. And it took a minute. But that was enough to get me to say, let me reevaluate this. And that there was the beginning. I was 22. Yeah, that there was the beginning of when I started looking at getting on stage again, and that's how Samantha Stevens' Divinity was born. But she was Samantha Stevens at the time. The Divinity came later, because I ended up having to make a way for myself, and then we got into selling Avon and Jaffra, and then I was helping my godmother sell her Tupperware, any little stuff like that, because I was trying to now forge my way, trying to be entrepreneurial and trying to find my niche, you know. And those things were not as it gave me enough to I was able to come out of a hole. I wasn't one of the ones like with Mary Kay to get the pink Cadillac or whatever. I never got to those particular kinds of statuses or whatever. But I was able to pay a bill or two. I was able to, keep the lights on, keep my phone on. And that's what happened for me. Unfortunately, Twitch wasn't one of those people. Twitch wasn't one who was able to come back from his despair. He wasn't able to be to get the jump start to say, ooh, he wasn't able to hear the music that was going to sit up here and let him choreograph his way out of that funk because he was too far down. Luther Vandross has a song that says too far down. He says, okay to fall, but don't fall, honey, too far down. Okay. And he says too far down is where you fall, where you don't know how to fall no more. And that I listened to that song and I wish somebody would I'm gonna post it. Because I think that there's an appropriate song right about now. We're dealing with a lot of babies and people. Twitch was 40, just turned 40. Okay, still a whole life ahead of him. His babies are babies. How do you explain that to your children? How do you provide a space for those who have to deal with the aftermath? See, one of the things about suicide is that it becomes so personal to where nobody thinks about the aftermath. And this is why folks get angry, because it becomes selfish. It's like, you didn't think about me. You didn't think about me. You didn't think about me. But one of the things is that we have to come out of that. We have to come out of it, even though it's okay to express it, because that's your hurt. That's your feeling. Feelings are real and feelings matter. You can't help how you feel, but you can help how you react to them. Even though that's how you feel, one of the things that we have to understand is, though you're hurting, we don't know what pain that they were into, and they couldn't come to you to say, hey, help me out of this. Help me out of this, because right now, this is my only way out. This is my only way out. Now, I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in here, because I want y'all to think over the times when people, and I'm not saying this is Twitch's thing, I'm just looking at y'all. I want y'all to look at something from another standpoint, because over the years, we had people who killed themselves, politicians and business people and carrying on, who killed themselves. And sometimes they did it to protect their families. Why? Because sometimes they were in too far. They got into something they couldn't handle. It was like, either I take myself out of here so that I can protect my family, or the big bad wolf was coming after my daughter, after my son, after my grandbabies, after my wife, after my mother. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when it didn't make sense, a lot of times there were those who did it because they had to protect the family. And you will never know that, because part of the deal was, listen, we'll take care of the family and carry on. We'll make sure blah, 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 because I don't need you in my business. You know what I'm saying? That's the organized crime shit. And I'm not saying that this is what it was with Twitch. All I'm saying is I'm giving you just something to look at. Okay? Let's look at those who are part of the alphabet community. We got a lot of babies who take themselves up out of here. Why? We've been talking about it all the time, the cyberbullying and things of that nature. We get folks who sit up there and take themselves out because the pressure is too much. I can't go to school. I can't even sit up here and do my homework without messages popping and folks sending me this and taunting me here with that, popping up on my phone, popping on the computer, popping in the Facebook, the Instagram, the Snapchat. and coming from around the world in real time. And then not only you got the bullies, but you got those who incentivize the bullies by co-signing the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So we end up having a whole heap of people in despair because they don't know how to get out of it. Imagine, we're talking about a 40-year-old man here who did not have a way out and saw suicide as the way out. Now, if a 40-year-old thinks that way, what the hell you think a 9 or 10-year-old is going to do? When they feel the world is up against them, what do you think alphabet children doing, especially when you got the church telling them they're going to burn in hell anyway? Okay, when you got parents who sit up there and want to kick their kids out into these... If you want to throw your babies out here because you don't like their affinities, okay? Their sexual orientation was not a choice. The choice came in because I decided to live in my truth. I decided to stop running from it. That's the choice. I can't help whom I'm attracted to. And you want to throw your babies out into the street and wonder why these kids commit suicide. Have you provided a safe space, a safe place for those who you say you love and care about, whether it's family, friends, loved ones? Have you provided a space where they can come to you and be emotionally and spiritually naked in front of you without any discourse, without any ridicule and scorn, without any backlash? Because if you have not, then you are part of the problem too. Inadvertently, babies. You're not trying to be. And here, I want you to understand something too. This is for those of you who want to sit there and say, well, my religious beliefs and how I feel and how I run my house is how I run my house. That's not what I'm saying. Because, yes, we want to have order and carry it on, but we have to have common ground as well. We have to have common ground and meet me halfway. Okay, what's wrong with saying, okay, listen, okay, I may not understand, I may not agree with it, but listen, in this household, honey, this is what's going to happen. You understand? Don't bring your friends by like that. And if they come over here, they're going to be respectful. What's wrong with that? Nothing's wrong with that. As long as you have boundaries. You understand? What is it? Twitch, we don't know what the man was dealing with. All we know, he had a beautiful smile and a wonderful dance and a beautiful swag about him. We don't know what those inner turmoils were. We don't know if he succumbed to the pressures of being in an interracial relationship, especially in this climate. We don't know what his religious background is or whatever. That's between him, his God, his family. We don't know what those struggles were. And perhaps it's something that he couldn't take to his wife. In fact, I'm sure it was, because he probably didn't at all. Or, here's the other thing. Are you paying attention? How well do you know the people you say you love? Huh? How well do you know them? Because everything comes out in the pattern. You can tell. Folks like to do shit to see if you're paying attention to them anyway. Okay. When folks go out of alignment with what you know for them to do, then they know something's wrong. Okay? They know something has changed, at least. Maybe not wrong. Let's do that. They know something has changed. If I know that you get off work at 5 o'clock, and I know that if you're taking the trains, it takes you an hour and a half to get home. I also know that if you're coming straight home, it's an hour and a half. If you're going to stop to bring me flowers or candy or have a drink with the boys or whatever, you may take 2.5 hours, okay, by train. So if you're off at 5 o'clock, I'm expecting you home no later than 8 o'clock in the evening, because I've already made those adjustments. If you come home anytime after 8 o'clock, something has changed. Something's wrong. If I notice that, okay, the first time may be a fluke, okay? And then, yeah, hey, baby, you late, you know? Is everything okay? What happened? You know? Or if you're anything like me, I go straight to the news to see if the train's done had an accident or whatever. You know, if you're driving, you may be stuck in traffic. You understand what I'm saying? These are the things that if you pay attention, it's going to reveal itself that there's a change somewhere. Something's off. Especially if this is somebody that you're laying down with. If you laying down and you know that touch ain't feeling right, I'm here, but I'm not here. What? You know when somebody's holding you, but yet they're distant from you because they're not totally present. You understand that because you know what the touch is. And if you're not aware of that or not making the right concessions to say, hey, what's going on, then that shows that you're not paying attention or is interpreted that you don't care. Okay? What are you doing, people? What are we doing, people, to provide a safe space and a safe place for those who we love and care about to be emotionally and spiritually naked in front of us without the ridicule and the scorn and the belittlement that the world would give? See, this is why we have to look at it. And here, for those of you who are very religious and want to put Jesus on everything, not that that's a bad thing, but the timing is so fucked up at times, it's ridiculous. If I'm hurting and I'm going through, please don't come to me with Bible scriptures. You have to learn how to pace that. Let me talk it out. If I feel if I feel have a drink, if I feel like smoking a joint, or harder for those who do harder shit. No judgment, honey. I don't know what you do to cope. You understand? I don't know what it is that you do to cope. But when I see that you're hurting, I can't come to you in resistance because I don't like the fact that you do cocaine. And then be like, what the fuck are you doing that shit for? Because see, then you done created a wall. Okay, I don't like it, but if whatever you go through ran you to taking a bump or whatever, something's way wrong. And we got to talk. Now I got to wait and give you space because maybe you're not ready to come forward with it. But to show them that you are there. My road dog, honey, is fabulous for keeping his emotions bottled up. But I have to wait until he's ready to dissect it. And then I have to give him room. Because he don't like it when I come at it and dissect it, carrying on, and this, that, and the other. Because he don't know how to handle that. So then I have to sit down and find cute little ways to let him have his voice without him thinking I'm trying to stifle him or stomp on him or whatever, although he feel that anyway. I don't care what it is I say. He feel that I'm just trying to attack him. And what it is, he's mad at the world and yet want to be emotionally available, but don't know how because he's trying to guard himself because that's a lot of pain. And most of us as humans do not want to suffer or feel the pain. And so we run from it. We try to shut it down. We, at any cost, we want to make sure we don't feel it. But the more that we run from it, the more that we try to shun it, the more that we try to block it, it does nothing but fester. It festers and it builds and it builds and it builds. It's just like when you're sweeping a rug, honey. Y'all know how y'all swept dirt in the pile and you don't sweep it up right away, but you keep sweeping the pile. Then somebody come and step on it, so then they're scattered all over. So when you sweep it back up, it's a bigger pile. Then it becomes a bigger pile and a bigger pile to where you don't need a broom. Now you need a fucking vacuum cleaner or a dry vac because now you got to suck it up. You know, how many of y'all had tried to when you're cleaning your walkway, you got to push broom because you're trying to get the dust up. And so eventually the broom ain't working, so you got to get the water hose because now you got to water it down because it's too much. You understand? And the point I'm making is there are moments where when you're just trying to do enough, to just doing enough ain't enough. And if you let it sit too long, then you got to go through other means because now you let the problem become bigger and you let it become bigger and you let it become bigger to where it's uncontrollable. Look at hoarders. Okay, people who are the show hoarders. Okay, you let shit sit there, you collect and collect and collect and collect it till it's out of control. And somebody got to come in to now help you sort it. As a matter of fact, no, they can't help you sort it. What it is, they got to sort it for you because you don't know how to do it anymore. You get lost in the sauce. What are we doing as people to provide a safe space and a safe place for those who we say we love and care for to be emotionally and spiritually naked in front of us? Are we paying attention to those who we say we love and care about to notice when something has changed in their aura, in their psyche, in their pattern, in how they revolve around your world? If you notice something has changed, then it's time to act on it. Let them know, I see you, baby. Something is off. When you're ready, I'm here. No judgment. No judgment. And when you say no judgment, mean it. Mean it. You can't sit up there and say no judgment, and then frown your face up when they say something crazy. Now, I have to get on myself about that because I know I don't have a poker face. Okay. And so I know I have to sit down there. And when I say no judgment, hey, okay, it is what it is. So when I say no judgment, I have to go in expecting the worst that you're going to say so that it doesn't shock me. You know what I'm saying? I will put scenarios in my head just so that it won't, when it come out your mouth, I'm ready. So if I went too far out the way, what you say ain't going to be as bad as what I thought. So I'm good. But that's me. Okay. That there is how we are able to throw out the lifeline and reel our babies back. We have to do that, people. And we got to stop letting our own personal shit get in the way when somebody is hurting. We got to stop doing that, because especially if you're the person that they trust, if you are the one who they want to lean on and want you to be there to help carry them, your actions of how you treat everybody else around you is going to determine how they come to you. It's all about a consistent pattern, honey. If you're not consistent with how you are with everybody else, they will not come to you. They won't do it because they won't trust you. I don't care how sweet as pie you are, they will not trust you because they see how you've done everybody else. So what makes you think you're going to do them any differently? We as a people, we got to do better. We got to do better, babies. We got to do much better than what we're doing. The world, honey, is in peril right now. We are in times, honey, we ain't seen nothing like this. We're coming out of a pandemic. Well, no, we're still in the pandemic. We're coming out of a lockdown. And we are seeing that people, honey, are losing their minds, literally, because them 2 years, honey, have had us locked up and suppressed to where now trying to refunction, trying to regroup, trying to redo this. Honey, we don't know how to handle it a lot of times. And then for those of us who lost people in the process. And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this out loud because I think this is something that I'm dealing with. In losing my mother, those of us who lost folks to COVID, and we were not able to go and touch them, go see them. Okay, the last thing that we had from my mother was a video phone call. Okay, and I only got the vocals. I didn't even get to see my mother. So we couldn't go touch. We couldn't go and say, I love you. A lot of y'all are wondering how come they got funerals on YouTube and carried on, because we couldn't be in the funeral homes. They limited to the amount of people that would. So now it's like, okay, we got a virtual funeral. So the psyche behind all of that, The psyche behind, look at those who lost their businesses, those who didn't get the PPP loans and carrying on, and lost their businesses. They done put all their money, all of their hard work has gone up in flames. They got to start over from zero completely. Completely. What that was to build the next egg, to get the coin, to get the this and the that, and the business is gone. And you talking about now I got to regroup and start over? How? And then the government don't want to this, and I'm trying to do my paperwork, and that ain't that. And my back is up against the wall. I got my creditor still, and just because the business folded don't mean that my business credit, the creditors are not still after me wanting their money. Plus, I got a mortgage and a car note and insurance and the kids in school. You know what I'm saying? We got uniforms to buy. We got school equipment to buy. You understand? Health. Somebody got to go to the doctor. This one need braces. Honey, I need teeth. Okay. The fuck is that? $50,000 just for my motherfucking mouth. Really? And look at that. You're talking about all of that on top of having to deal with the world, having to go out there and still navigate through everything else. Those who have not found a way to sit down and find peace, and it got too heavy for them, sometimes suicide is the only answer that folks will concoct and conceive in order to get out when they are hurting and they don't see a way out. Yeah. So we have got to do better. When I understand that we have got to stop trying to tell these folks that they're wrong and God don't love them and this, that, and that because they committed suicide. Listen, let me explain something to you. If you tell me that God knew me in the womb before I was in the womb and can count every strand on my head, strand of hair on my head, okay, and God is the author and the finisher, then God knew this was coming. The question becomes, what's the lesson in it? Because now we got to learn what the lesson is so that we can go and teach it in the hurt and in the pain of them taking their lives and not giving us a clue. Or no, the clues are there. We're not paying attention to the clues, not leaving a letter to specifically say why this was done. Understanding that questions are going to be that we will never be able to have answers to. Navigating that to find out what the lesson is so we can teach it to somebody else. What are we going to do, people? What are we going to do? I'm Big Meach, baby. And this here is a Big Meach moment.